Ma'am, you may start.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I give my comments from the Rhode Island Campaign for Achievement Now, I was just asked by Rhode Island Kids Count to apologize. They had hoped that they would be here tonight. They had a scheduling conflict. They've submitted written testimony, and they just asked that I say that the Rhode Island Kids Count testimony highlights the growing body of research linking student achievement and behavior to school building conditions and overcrowding. But you have that testimony in front of you. Now, on behalf of RICAN, so we are here in support of Article 9, which is the governor's proposal around the school building authority. While I had heard many stories doing education advocacy around the state about the condition of our buildings, it wasn't until I visited some schools myself and saw scaffolding literally holding up the structures of some of our schools where it really hit me about what was happening, because there is great disparity across our state. We have some amazing facilities, and we have some facilities in dire need of change, and that we really do need to do better for our students. So last year, we researched the issue. We released a report on school facilities and made several recommendations. And you have the executive summary of that report in your packets. The parts I wanted to just highlight were around our recommendations. The recommendations in that report included creating a new school building authority, improving access to capital funding by creating a pay-as-you-build model, creating different funding options, low-interest loans, identifying dedicated revenue stream, developing prioritization, and treating all public schools equitably. And I just want to pause there because there's been a lot of conversation about that. So I feel it's important to point out that in our public charter schools, 67% of the students are eligible for free and reduced price lunch, whereas statewide we have 47% of our students are eligible. So the students that are attending our public charter schools are actually the students that are coming from many of the communities that have a higher reimbursement rate because of the condition of their community, the wealth of their community. And so this is really about equity. And so I hope you'll consider that. The next is I just wanted to also highlight that we released a new report this year, recognizing that the state's economy is on top of mind for everybody, and that report is also in your packets. In that report, we looked at the economic impact of the school building authority, school building program, and found that in the construction industry particularly, in our state has been hit the hardest when it came to the economic downturn, with 40% of the industry being unemployed in 2014. And a Bryant study showing that for every 100 construction jobs created, another 83 are generated in other fields to support the construction industry. But we also looked at the financial benefits of investing in our schools, not only for the learning environments for our students, but also in the revenue generated. Our report shows the millions of dollars that are generated in tax revenues, both in the job side, but also just in construction materials and a variety of the entire sector. So we really hope that you will consider the governor's proposal. And I just want to end with this. I was recently reached out to by a program called Generation Citizen, which is a nonprofit program that works in middle schools and high schools across our state, trying to civically engage students. I was contacted by a 7th grade class in Roger Williams Middle School in Providence. The students had chosen school facilities as their project for the year. They wanted me to come in and talk about the program and what my organization had done. During that process, we talked about the program. I gave them a lot of the material I've given you, and they wanted to be part of this process. So I wanted to just point your attention to some other testimony you have in your packets, which are handwritten letters of testimony from 7th graders talking about why they want the moratorium lifted and their buildings improved. But I just want to quickly read 2 quotes from them. One is, "I support funding for school construction because Roger Williams doesn't have a ramp or an elevator. I broke my foot 2 times already and had to be excused because my classes were on the 3rd floor and I couldn't walk." That's from Melanie. The second is, "My school's conditions are very poor. Some things that need to be fixed are the bathroom has graffiti everywhere, the ceiling paint is chipping and it's leaking in the cafeteria. Water fountains," I call them bubblers, but water fountains. "The water's hot or warm and it comes out yellow sometimes. The auditorium ceiling is chipping and falling apart." Those are a few of the many things that need to be fixed. One thing that we wished would happen is that we could get the moratorium lifted. That would allow not just my school, but other schools to get fixed, and it would help people get jobs. I think my presentation worked with this class. But I think they say it better than I can, and we really hope that you'll consider the governor's budget proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Mr. Snappy?